he's not excited. I mean, given the conditions that he has found himself in. For purposes of context, so the GFA last week, the appeals committee of the GFA upheld the decision of the election committee earlier that Mr. George Afriyie was going to be blocked from contesting this year's GFA presidency, and the reasons were as stipulated by Article 13(2)(j). Actually, so if you go back to the documents that brought the first decision out from the elections committee, Mr. George Afriyie was prevented because one. According to Article 13(2)(j), you are supposed to get a number of people to endorse your candidature after you have been nominated. And Mr. George Afriyie did not get those numbers. And the reason is that
the 5 endorsements.
Yes, the reason is that he didn't get that because there was one person, Mr. George Afriyie, who represented Victory Football Club. When they went to do their checks at the Auditor General's department to see if he was a director of Victory Football Club.
Registered General
Department. Thank you very much. He wasn't a director of the club.
Okay.
They contacted the owner of the club, the directors, Mr. Kuku Battles and his wife, who is secretary of the club. They could not provide proof that Mr. Geoffrey Asare was a director of Victory Football Club. And it's in Article 13(2)(j) that anybody that's supposed to sign or endorse you should either be a director, an owner of a club, or somebody that's been given the mandate to be able to enter into a third party, an agreement with a legal person or a third party legal agreement to anybody on behalf of the club. Because Mr. Geoffrey Asare also wasn't, nothing was written to the GFA. And of course, in that same Article 13(2)(j) says that in case that a director is not going to do that job and they are going to appoint someone or give that someone the mandate, that person, the club should be able to write to the GFA 30 days prior. The GFA via the General Secretary says they didn't receive that 30 days prior, and then Mr. George Afriyie's candidature was in question in that regard. I mean, there are people that believe that you would have to look at some things, find ways to get things done the right way. But the elections committee and appeals committee says, you know what, it is not enough. Once there are rules to get a job done. Now, there are people that
so that's legal.
Yeah,
but they say not all legal things are right. For
me, I think every legal thing is right.
Really?
I think. Oh no, wait. I think that this legal thing is right.
Okay.
Now, there are two schools of thoughts.
Okay.
The first school of thought is that school of thought that says that, you know what, maybe we need to be a little bit lenient. Maybe there was some form of miscommunication. Maybe the letter was sent. Maybe all of these things were done, and then the GFA the elections committee did not receive what they were supposed to receive in time. Somebody also says that because of optics, right? The GFA is
which is very important.
Yeah, yes. One of the most unpopular brands in the country.
The GFA.
Yes.
So optics very, very important.
Yes. So for us to avoid the unnecessary stuff, the comments about the GFA, that's not so cool. We could have allowed Mr. George Afriyie go through with the elections, and then maybe whoever the clubs want to vote as their president will vote for him. But there's also a strong standing on the right thing to be done and the law. And I think that for me, that's where I stand. That if truly Mr. George Afriyie flouted certain laws, flouted certain articles of the same statuses that he was going to be sworn in, as president of the GFA, then I don't think there's a need for optics.
Okay.
Because we will have better optics if we uphold the law. We will have better optics if we do the right thing.
Yeah.
So if it is true, if it is right, if it is well justifiable that he omitting or Mr. Geoffrey Asare is not truly a director of the club, and he verified
as at the time he was signing.
And then Victory Football Club did not write to the GFA to say that we are giving the powers to Mr. Geoffrey Asare. Then it is the wrong thing that was done. You can argue on whichever merits, but then in that point in time, it is clear. The rule stipulates that clearly. And you don't need to circumvent it and come and cry foul in the public space about some of these
Even when
issues.
you are changing the signature, it should be done, I think, within 30 days prior.
Yeah, 30 days prior to the vetting. So it's important. It's important. But you know what? I've seen people that say that, the last time when Mr. Ketokrik was also contesting, there were times where there were people on his list that were not the right people. He was called to make those changes.
Really?
And what's not under the normalization committee. Yes.
But that's an allegation.
People have also alluded to that of Amanda Clinton and said that at the time Amanda had issues with her nomination. She was called to make nominations and what's not. So maybe it's just an issue of nomination and you just maybe it's a wrong, but this one is very, very critical. If you are supposed to sign, if you are supposed to be able to, so right now I can't go into an agreement with anybody or any third party on behalf of multimedia. I cannot,
unless multimedia gives you that power.
Yes, unless multimedia says that Manfred can do that. Now a sales and marketing person for our programs here can do that and go, but that one he or she cannot even sign. He can bring the business and somebody will put it into the legal framework that they're supposed to put it in. The accountants can do that. So immediately you do that, it is a little bit questionable legally. So if Mr. Geoffrey Asari isn't the director of the club, he wasn't given that power, and they went ahead to append the signature.
That's according to the verdict from the elections committee.
Yes, yeah, of course, we are quoting everything from the elections committee. Then that is worrying. That is really worrying. You understand? Now, when the case was sent to the appeal, some of the things that have been raised has been the number of people that were on the panel at the GFA at the elections, that the vetting that Mr. George Afriyie was in there. He made mention of the fact that there were supposed to be 5 people, but there were 6 people. So first of all, people like Eugene will tell you that then you shouldn't have allowed the vetting go on. By Eugene, the GF was also in that release. I've also appointed that the one person that was in there was just in there for documentation processes. So you go into vetting process, and there's somebody in there to document whatever was supposed to go on, and that was the person. That person necessarily is not part of the vetting committee that was in there in that regard.
Perfect explanation.
Yes.
So for example, today you can come for an interview to be employed at Lab FM. Javier Clemente, Fiifi, and Eugene are on the panel. Steve Zando is there only for arranging documents or whatever. It doesn't mean that I'm part of the panel.
And Zando, the intervention I wanted to make is that George is only using it as an afterthought. If you indeed had an objection to raise, you raise it there and refuse to be vetted. For them to explain to you why the
you had that right.
Yes, because you know that you are supposed to be vetted by a certain number of people. You go into a room, that number is exceeded by 1. You sat there to be vetted. Then when an issue comes, you raise an issue about the quorum that was formed for you to vet it. If indeed you had genuine challenges with it, and it's
you should have raised it earlier.
You raise it there, refuse to be vetted for that issue to be resolved.
So that was you.
So apart from that, also I was on Joy, our sister station, I think on Wednesday.
If you begin to wrap up for me
with Mr. George Afriyie's lawyer, one interesting point that he raised on the show was the fact that, so if you go back to the list of people that endorsed Mr. George Afriyie, there was Susu BB, there was Victory Club, there was one club, Techiman 11 Wonders, and he feels that there was an extra member. So even if Geoffrey Asari's endorsement was questionable, then the GFA could have easily gone in for the Techiman 11 Wonders member to add to it to make it the 5 that's required.
What you are saying, what the lawyer meant was that 6 clubs or 6 members of the GFA actually endorsed Kurt's. I'm sorry, George's nomination. So it's supposed to be 5. The one that does the nomination, then the other 5. I think they have a fair case, or?
So there was also an explanation to that.
From
there's an explanation actually in the first the verdict that came in there. So you remember that the GFA said that in that list of people that endorse them, everybody was clear. Supposed to be clear that you are endorsing Mr. George Afriyie and only him for presidency. Now for Techiman 11 Wonders, apparently they are not clear. They were not clear. They mentioned Mr. George Afriyie as part of the number of people that they were endorsing, and per the elections statute, that's not supposed to be done. So
there's also a bit of on the regulation that says that the committee should have drawn the attention of George Afriyie when they realized that they said Mr. Geoffrey Asari does not have the jurisdiction or the locus to append his signature or to approve George's nomination. Were you expecting the election committee to do that?
Yes, they did that when they disqualified him.
No, but the bit on the regulation says
for them to change him.
No. They should have drawn his attention to the fact that this guy
so that he can change it.
Yeah.
No, but I don't think so. I think that it's illegal. It's an illegal remit of theirs,
and it's not right.
They can choose to be lenient, but if they decide not to be lenient, you can't really fault them. If they decide to uphold the law, you can't fault them. I want to go on that tangent actually, because you see that is why I'm very happy that Mr. George Afriyie even though he has said prior that he would not be going to court and all those things, if he goes to court, I don't have a problem.
Okay.
I want us to really test that part of the law because Mr. George Afriyie's lawyer seemed very confident.
Okay.
The GFA's election committee and the various lawyers that worked on their cases also seem very confident. So let us test the law with an external body so that we know really that does he just have to come and change with somebody? Because for my normal layman journalistic work, I'm looking at an important document that can go to become something like impersonating. Because if you're not a director and you're signing to be a director, that's warrant. It's hugely legal.
In context.
Yes.
Apparently, they had done the process of changing the signature, but it was not received within the stipulated period.
So you've not done it.
Okay.
Until it is received, you've not done it.
Yeah.
I can't come here and say I'm changing my name from Manfred Kofi Asante
just like that,
and all of a sudden I'm working with Javier Clemente and I say my name is Javier Clemente and I say I was in the process of swearing affidavit to change my name. No, it's not done. If that is the case, then I want us to uphold the law. But if he wants to take it on, he should, so that we can really test our law and find the right way to go. Because we don't want to go back and 10 years back. We come back and say that we allowed George Afriyie to go through. Why not letting Zando to go through now? Let's do the right thing. Please.
So the others who also say that the severity of this issue is quite different from instances where the committee could have invited the person involved to ask it to change certain things. So, for example, when you were filing your documents to complete the process and maybe you left out your passport picture, something like that, the committee could have drawn attention to the fact that no, you need to add your passport picture.
So the appeals committee added that into their release. They made mention to about two things. They said, okay, fine, something like your tax exemption, your tax returns. If you fail to do it, they can't call you, but we need your tax returns. So bring it. No,
maybe your first degree certificate.
Exactly.
But you can't go and submit a fake first degree certificate and later expect the elections committee to draw attention to the fact that you need to bring the original because this one you submitted is fake.
Because once you find out that it's fake, you are gone. So that is the bane of the arguments of the elections committee, and the same argument has been upheld by the appeals committee. Mr. George Afriyie possibly will go to the Accra High Court to try and seek an injunction on the election. In fact, the election itself has been extended from the 27th to about the 5th of October. So that is it. I'm sure the GFA anticipating a legal issue. So
but the case involving GFA and Kim Fraser is slated for 2nd October. So maybe there's that anticipation that by 3rd October,
everything will be
done. Whether the injunction application will be granted or not. Javier, but this one, let's move on to the Ghana Premier League.
No, but you see, you know my stance on some of these things.
I don't know.
No, you know. Well, you are the producer for our show.
Hey, Prof.
You are the producer for our show on Insta, so you know my stance